All right. Hello, everybody. We
Hey,
are so excited you're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Grassroots All Hands webinar, Sprint to the Election. My name is Tom Jeffrey. I'm the candidate support team lead for Humanity Forward, and I'm joined with a number of incredible
oh,
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
oh, Tom got locked up. Okay, I think I'll take over until Tom is
Unfrozen.
unfrozen. Hey, everybody, this is Erica. I am the organizing and operations director. So glad you all could make it here tonight. We are going to have a great conversation over the sprint to the election. I'm really hoping Tom gets back on here to give you the best overview possible of where we're going from this 25th day into the election, the general election. So I just welcome you all. I'm so glad you're here. Those that have been working and volunteering with us for a while, I so appreciate what you've been doing. Anyone who's new tonight, I hope that you learned something exciting to be a part of, because it's kind of exciting to be able to support UBI candidates that are actually running for office. It was kind of, if you think about it, Andrew was running for president last year at this time, and now we are actually able to support people and get them into office that are supporting the policies and ideas that he put into place. It is hard to believe that it's been almost a year since I came into this movement, and that we can actually put something together to move our movement forward and into the mainstream. I'm really excited about it. The more candidates that we have, the more people that get elected that are UBI candidates, the more likely it is for UBI to pass. There's a lot going on right now in terms of working Congress to first understand what UBI is, second, to introduce candidates who are running that may not be as familiar with UBI to it. So get excited, because there's a lot going on. Once we get through this election, there will be more. Wow, Tom's power went out. Okay. So I'm going to have to just wing it, because he had all of the information on what the game plan is. So I'm just going to wing this. And when he gets back on, if possible, he'll take back over. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're sprinting to the election, and the game plan is that we're going to do phone banking. Some of you may have heard of the Humanity Calls program. Maybe you haven't, but we are setting up phone banks that are happening 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. And we're going to have shifts going on during that time. So that's the general plan. And we're going to have lots of information for you in terms of what the candidates are about. We're going to set up one pagers for each of them, information for you to understand who you're calling for. We're going to have training during those phone banks. But in terms of getting this done, we're going to have to really step up, because there's roles that need to be filled. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness. Tom is back. You're muted.
Muted.
All right, so that could not be better. To give everybody a sense of what's going on here, I now have a basic phone set up to light the way. I do not know what's going on with the power over here, but we are going to make our way through.
I'm just going to let you know where we left off. I was just starting to get into what the sprint to the election game plan is. And I figured, now I'm very thankful that you're back.
I am back. I'm on a hotspot. I got a flashlight pointed at my face, and we are about to have some fun. so, where Erica left off, thank you so much for helping get us through that fun little period there. The game plan is pretty simple. We want each and every person to find themselves 1 to 2 candidates that they go all in for. You can feel the excitement and feel like you want to make an impact anywhere and everywhere you can. But that involves learning more about each and every candidate, learning policies, learning how to cover them. And it's a difficult thing to do. So what we're encouraging people is to find those candidates, and we'll give resources to help you identify them as much as possible. So as we're going through this whole process, there are 4 main ways that you can really make an impact. The first is going to be with phone banking. It is calling voters directly, talking to voters with your mouth, which is what we always love to talk about, and making that specific impact. The second thing that we're going to do is text banking. There's a few candidates that have specifically asked for that. They've got the funds to roll out that type of work. And all you have to do is jump in, they'll do the training, they'll walk you through what text banking looks like for their specific needs, and you can start to make that impact. The third thing that we have is social media boosting. In this weird COVID time, social media has a bigger impact than ever, and it reaches a wider audience than ever. And many of the campaigns, they're pushing out material, but they don't have the time to go in and really carry that into different social media channels or groups, and you can help them do that. The very last thing is one that I'm extremely excited about because it's new and I get to do some fun branding, and it's our Humanity Rights program, where we've got some letters to the editor that you can help draft or use some of the templates and go in to a local publication if you live in an area with an endorsed candidate and share a letter to the editor so that people can hear more about them. All of these things have one very, very important piece in common. They're direct voter contact. They are engaging people and realizing that it's not just 25 days until the election. November 3rd isn't the election, it is the last day of voting. That is such an important distinction, and we need to make sure that we are contacting voters today so that we can get those mail-in ballots moving, we can get people to the polls for early voting, and we can get this whole show on the road. So phone bank, text bank, social media moderate, and write those letters to the editor so that we can really get that energy and enthusiasm going. That's our game plan. And here's the kicker. You're not doing it alone. You're not doing all this effort alone, because we have ourselves an incredible team of people in this movement that are ready to help you. Some of them are on this call with me right now. So I'd like to quickly go around the horn and introduce them. And then we can give some shout outs to the other people that are helping us carry this forward and even show you how you can join. So Erica, I'll pass it to you. I think you've already introduced yourself, but we'll go that way.
Yeah, I already introduced myself. I'll do it again just for anybody who just showed up. My name's Erica. I am the Organizing and Operations Director. We have a fantastic team of volunteer leaders who have been putting in the work of preparing what we need done for this last final sprint, and have been here since the beginning of Humanity Forward. So I just want to go around and introduce folks that are on screen right now. If you could just give a little shout out and say hi. I have the extraordinary Christina, who is our onboarding team lead.
Hey guys, I'm Christina. I'm probably one of the first persons you see when you come into Slack. I'm just part of the onboarding team, and I'm here to welcome you and be a resource for you. If you guys have any questions and want to get plugged into any areas, I'm available to you. Just come find me in Slack.
Thanks, Christina. I'm going to throw it over to Kimberly. She works with our Humanity Hangs.
Hey guys, I'm Kimberly Woods. Awesome time hanging out with all of you guys. We work the Humanity Hang program with all of our wonderful co-hosts. If you ever want to come and hang and relax and get away from the buzz, talk about how exciting it's been. or get some advice on how to move forward, we're here to help out and chill.
Thank you, Kimberly. It's Tuesdays and
Fridays.
That's right, Tuesdays and Fridays. Thank you, Kimberly. It's a great experience for during this time of the pandemic to get into a community hang. Lauren, I'm going to throw it to you if you want to just introduce yourself. She is the team lead for the email response team.
Hi, I'm Lauren. So I work with the email response team. We are the people who see and respond to the emails that you send to Humanity Forward. And I just want to point out that we have Tucker in the attendees, and he's not in with us here yet.
Oh, I can make that happen.
Okay, cool. And then I also wanted to throw it to Colleen. She is representing from the Humanity First movement. She is our liaison for getting things going on candidate support and is also on the interim board. So if you want to introduce yourself, Colleen, I'd love it. You're muted.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm with the Humanity First movement. We're the grassroots organization that partners very, very closely with Humanity Forward. I've picked my one candidate that I'm focusing on. That would be Blair Walsingham. So I'm organizing her phone banking. I'll also be jumping on other phone banking because I've met all the candidates that we've had. I've been hosting live stream AMAs. They're all remarkable, and all those AMAs are on our YouTube channel, so you can get to know them very well if you want to check those out. So.
Thank you, Colleen. Excellent. And I'm going to throw it to Tucker. He is part of our tech team. And I'm hoping maybe, Tucker, you could give him a little browse around the portal that we've just released. Your sound's a little, you got a little sound problem going on.
Let's try this. Is that better?
Not really. How about we, I'll take over.
Sounds like your windows are down in your car.
Yeah, it sounds like you're in a wind tunnel. So Tucker has been working on getting our volunteer portal up and running. And so what I'm going to, if we could just drop that into the chat, we have this new portal that was set up this week specifically so we have something for you to see for tonight. I think I can do a screen share here. I'm just going to give it a quick look at. Let's see here. This is exciting. Can you see my screen? Okay, cool. So when you come into volunteers.movehumanityforward.com, this is just the welcome page. You have the option of going to check out our event calendar or to look at what we are calling volunteer roles. On the event calendar, it's kind of exciting. You can click in here and, like, for example, tonight's meeting is got a whole sheet here of what's going on with optional links to click on to register for the event that's coming up. Speaking of, Humanity Calls is happening on Saturday, and Tom is going to get more into that for two of our excellent candidates. So you can register on these links within these events. You can actually go straight to the registration information from that link. So from the events calendar, we also have a new section. We've got a lot going on that we need support for, and we're just excited to release this opportunities page where you can see where we need the help. For example, I am looking for graphic designers for our team. We need a lot of help in getting graphics made up so that we can make our needs known in a real exciting and beautiful way. So if you're interested in doing something like that, you would come here, click on a link to fill out an application right online. All of that's right here. So you just fill that out and we will get back to you as soon as possible to introduce you to the team that you're looking to be on. More importantly, though, is that we have roles related to the phone banking. And that's what we care about right now. Everything else that's going on is not in the priority list at all. We can always build out portals and make things better and bigger and brighter. But everything we're doing right now is to support our endorsed candidates. So we have roles in here that are involved with humanity calls, get a crew together, become moderators for our humanity calls program. Tom's going to get more into that. And you can come here and check out what other roles we have going on. So please do. It's an exciting new page. And then if you want to come to the About page, let's see here. Oh, a refresh needed to be done. You'll find out who is on the team and who is leading each of these teams. As you can see, there's a list here of all of the volunteer leads. And if you have questions, these are the people that you can hit up in Slack. Speaking of Slack, if you haven't joined our Slack, it's a good time to do that now. If someone could drop a link in there for you all, that'd be awesome. So I'm going to throw it back to Tom because I'm pretty much done talking about our portal. Really excited about everyone coming in and checking out what roles need to be filled. It's not time to be thinking about anything but supporting our UBI candidates. It is the movement exposed, if you will. When we win, when these candidates win, we all win. And that's something I really want you guys to think about. And if you get in there and start participating in these roles, because we need to get moving. We're on a sprint. Go ahead, Tom.
We are on a sprint for sure. When it comes to any kind of movement, it is partly about building power outside. It's getting enthusiasm and people organizing and pressuring those that are currently in the halls of power. But the best way to create change is to change who's in the halls of power in the first place, so that when we are contacting Congress and we are pressuring them, there are people on our side carrying this message forward and helping to make the change that we want to see. That's what we have the chance to do. There are so many great candidates. I'm looping back to it time and time again, because that we are in a great spot. We are supporting phenomenal people, and we're fighting for them because we know they'll fight for us. The upcoming list of events that we have are going to be running Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays with multiple shifts for our friends on the East Coast, all the way over to our friends on the West Coast. When you hear that and you say, wow, just Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, there's 25 days. That doesn't cover all of them. Well, that's because we are waiting for you to join us and become a new member of the phone banking captain team. Every new person that we can get that's able to do a Humanity Calls program to do a quick kickoff to the event, welcome everybody, get them excited for calling for the candidate that's there, and then just being present to address any technical issues and just hosting the overall thing. Every additional person we get that can do that helps us host more events. I right now know that we will have 10 scheduled if we hit our Monday, Wednesday, Saturday schedule through the election. I'd like to hit 25. We've got the ability to do that if we have people sign up, take that action, and join us. It is more fun than ever. Most of your time when you're spending here is talking about a great candidate and getting excited and feeling that energy that probably brought you to this movement in the first place. So go to that portal, sign up today. We'll be happy to train you and get you connected. That's a really fun event. I can tell you all about it, and I can't wait to do that. To give you a quick sense of the upcoming events, we're going to be doing it on paper because power's out. So this upcoming Saturday, we have a dual event. It's going to be from 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern is going to be Qasim Rashid in Virginia. And then from 5 to 8 p.m. Pacific time, so 8 to 11 Eastern, we'll be calling for Bryn Kennedy out in California. I believe California's 4th. Next thing that we've got is on the 12th, on Monday, Blair Walsingham is going to be our first shift, followed up by Marilyn Strickland out in Washington. So big shout out to Tennessee and Washington State for showing up. After that, we'll have on Wednesday, Teresa McCalman in New York, running for a very important state house seat. And then David Kim out in California. We'll be doing everything we can to elevate so many great candidates in that state. We'll be switching over on Saturday the 17th to Nate McMurray in New York and Marilyn Strickland again. Then finally, the last of our currently scheduled events, we'll have more that are coming up and filling the calendar soon, is Donna Iman in Texas and Suzanne Hug out in Arizona. So we'll be pushing as many of these events as we can. If you are a local to any of these areas, to any of these candidates, and you would like to host a phone bank, or you already are hosting phone banks and want to get some national support, reach out to us. We're happy to shine that national spotlight, to start pushing those events and getting as many people on them as we can. We have a wide variety of templates for the phone banks, a wide variety of guides to walk you through it, and we're happy to elevate and support wherever we can. So those are some of the upcoming schedules that we have. The phone banking opportunities are enormously exciting, and that's a lot of the great things. I don't have my dual screen currently on, so run of show, Erica, could you tell me what is next on our list?
Sure thing, Tom. We are going into incentive program.
Oh, that's perfect. So one of the things that that makes this all exciting is that we've got merch. We have an ability to start sending out rewards to everybody that's stepping up. We understand that it can be a little nerve-wracking or unusual to call people, and that for many it's out of our comfort zone. Now, I can tell you all about how it's a much more fun thing than you would think, but the truth is, we just have to celebrate every time you pick up the phone, and every time you make a dial, and every time you talk to a voter, and get us one step closer to building the movement and making the change that we want to see. So some of the rewards that we have involve free masks. We have some human pins, so if you ever wore that little math pin, or saw Andrew wear it back during the Yang campaign, we've got that same style, but human, because it's beautiful, it's incredible, and I think Erica might have designed it. If not, I'm still going to give her credit. We have a wide variety of those that can go out, and the basic breakdown is if you attend 3 events and make a minimum of 20 calls, we're going to encourage you to stay the whole time, but show up to 3 events, you will get yourself a free mask. If you show up to 5 events, you'll get a free human pin. And if you show up to 7 events, we've got a big surprise. It's something that we've been talking about for a while. Kimberly's over here, she's been wanting to say it and we can't. But we are really excited about what we've put together. And if you can hit that magical number of 7 events between now and November 3rd, you are going to get that special incentive. We have a few people that's leading up to this were helping us test out the Humanity Calls program, helping us test the process for building out these phone banks. And they have, many of them have qualified for our first round of merch. So we'll be making sure that everybody that's been a part of this process the whole way gets the support and gets the rewards for stepping up and showing up every step of the way. So that is enormously exciting and something I am so thrilled to talk about. So that's our rewards program. That's our incentive program. I think if we could, Erica, could we quickly jump back to that volunteer portal? I'd like to quickly highlight a couple of the roles that we have on there. fantastic. So as you're looking at this, you'll see that some of the highest priority ones, like Erica had said earlier, are phone banking moderators or captains that can help us build out this phone banking crew. Program managers. So we're looking for someone that is operationally focused and would love to help us take what we built and scale it as quickly as possible. It's a fun startup environment. You get a chance to see some templates, to work with a wide variety of campaigns and help us grow and build. We have a variety of people that are able to jump in and help us with social media moderation and help us scale out those communities. But the one that I really want to focus in on, if we could scroll down just a hair, a little bit more. Yes, so the scroll up slightly. That's on me. This candidate support social media coordinator. So we have moderators that can help out with the overall Humanity Forward platforms, but this is where many people that are focused on online organizing can really shine. We have openings with all of our candidates to jump in and help us directly coordinate with them on certain social media initiatives that they're doing. It's a really exciting opportunity because many of these candidates have phenomenal content. It's similar to some of the things that Colleen had shared earlier. There's so much that they have to share, so much good information, and we have a really unique and powerful national platform. So if we can find those ways to partner, we can really elevate their message in a very quick way. And this social media coordinator helps you do just that. So if you are adept at all in social media, that is the place to jump in. So those are the volunteer openings that we have. We've got more that are constantly coming in. We'll be notifying people as those pop up, and you can jump in and make the impact. If I'm recalling right, that should be the bulk of our official run of show. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Oh, fantastic. That gives me an excuse to do one more recap and then open this up for some Q&A on what next steps look like and how you can get involved. So the recap is pretty simple. We are sprinting to the election. We are not really 25 days out. We are closer to 14 days out from when the bulk of ballots and votes are being cast. That's important. Don't think that you can wait until November 2nd, like this is a normal election. If there's anything we've learned in the past year, nothing is normal, and we just find our way through it. So the ways that you can make the impact are, again, find yourself 1 to 2 candidates and go with as much gusto and passion as you can to get that candidate or candidates in office. The ways that you can do it are phone bank, our text bank, our social media moderate and assist, and write letters to the editor using our programs and our templates. So you can make that really powerful impact and start to bring about the change that you want to see. Now is the moment to do it. Now is when we sprint to the election, and we couldn't be more excited. So with that, I think we can open it up to some Q&A.
Thank you so much, Tom. Excellent. Thank you so much for outlining this program so well. I'm going to pass it over to Colleen. She's going to moderate the question and answer session, and we're going to, if anyone has any questions on what we're doing, she's going to help you out with that.
All right. Well, here's the first question from Peter asking, is there any UBI modeling available from Humanity Forward? The Singularity U Network is looking to organize a UBI modeling hackathon for advisory bodies to take to governments around the world to implement the winning models as policy. Google Doc attached to that.
Wow, that sounds very detailed, and like there's some good ideas coming out of our movement. as much as I want to address that question right now, we are really focusing on phone banking and getting our candidates elected into, for the general election. I will take your question to advisement with our programs director. And sorry, I can't really answer that question for you right now, but thank you for putting it in. Go ahead, Colleen.
That's the only one right now for that's in the Q&A chat. I just want to ask you, envision yourself phone banking and what any blockers that you see yourself having. Do you wonder, like, what would be the best time to phone bank? How, would I deal with, a certain kind of a call? Just how would I find out about a candidate in a faster way than to read their whole policy pages and spend 2 hours digesting their website? Picture yourself in this sprint. And what are your questions?
So,
Okay.
did I see Gray in the attendees list? I would like to have Gray come forward and give us a little insight into his phone banking experience with the, he has put on several phone bank, hangs, if you will. So Gray, do you have time to sort of give your input on what they're like and how important it is for people to be involved in them?
Yeah, sure. I can speak for a couple of minutes about that. So I spent some time phone banking. I was a field organizer for Robbie Goldstein over the summer, and then phone bank for other candidates as well, and then have been helping out with the Yes on 2 campaign in Massachusetts to get ranked choice voting on the ballot here. I would say that phone banking is it's different than canvassing for those of you who like knocked doors or sent texts. But it is like one of the most important things that you can do, because unfortunately, we are inundated with like media and information all day, every day. And so one of the things that is that makes a bigger difference, and campaigns do this, regularly. Normally we'd be knocking on doors, but like the face-to-face or the human-to-human contact makes a huge difference, right? So it is tough sometimes because it is easier for people to like say, oh, I don't want to talk to you, hang up on the phone, get off quickly. But when you do have conversations with voters, those tend to be like highly impactful. You can understand where the person is coming from, understand what issues are important to them, and then really address, why you're spending time on your evening or your weekend, and why being involved in electoral politics, why voting, why doing some of your research, why supporting, the policy issues that we know are all important in how we move forward, why that's relevant to that individual. And yes, they could go and read this on Ballotopedia or follow that candidate or what have you, but a lot of times 50% of our electorate is not engaged in politics, right? So unless you call them and have this conversation with them and really get their brain to think about it, and you aren't the only source of contact that they're getting, they are going to see it, read a flyer or see an ad, but like you having the conversation with them goes a lot deeper into integrating why this is important and why this is something I should be participating in. It makes a huge difference in the efficacy of how campaigns, build their base and collect voters. So super useful source of your time. With our campaigns, we try to do like Zoom calls like this one where, we've got a bunch of people on and you can tell stories about when you have great calls or tell stories about when you have bad calls or like prank calls, because sometimes people will have like the spam thing and then you listen to someone who's like in a restaurant or like some really good voice recordings. But this is like the I would say the important mover in how you in how we make a difference for each of these campaigns, especially as we are in like the final stretch. Like in the last couple of days, people are making up their minds. People were making up their minds when I was working on the primary for Robbie the day of, so I know that there's still lots of room to develop their thoughts on, you know, whichever candidate you decide is the one you're supporting.
Thank you so much, Gray. That's very insightful. I wanted to just point out that we do have a Q&A section. If you could put your questions in there so they're not lost in the chat. I did see one that came through is I've picked my candidates. I don't know if you saw that one, Colleen. Did you want to address that question?
Says, I've picked my candidates. What do I do now?
I think, Tom, are you unmuting?
I was just saying fantastic.
Yeah.
Colleen, you
Oh,
got it?
I mean, I think my first follow-up question would be, well, which candidates did you pick there? So with those, when you've picked your candidates, some fast track ways to learn about them are finding the content clips that Humanity First movement video editors have made. So we've taken the best moments of the AMA and made these Donna and Blair. Okay, great. We have 6 videos from Blair. She had a brilliant AMA. So when you get these sound bites, it really like speaks to your heart about what she stands for. And so then you can speak from your heart to these voters and have, you know, some more like specific content on her. You know, she spoke on some how her experience in the Air Force shaped her. And once you, I want to kind of lead this question into answering another question I saw, was that people are burnt out on politics. So how do you engage them? And I found, like with Blair, for example, leading into, before you say they're running for Congress, say what they are running for Congress. So when you say Blair's an Air Force veteran, that's very disarming. You know, people are going to have empathy for veterans right away. David Kim is an immigration lawyer. You know, that's something they're going to connect with very quickly. So there'll be, I mean, I'll be in these hangs, like having tips for these scripts, you know, how we go about them. Another way to engage with voters is to be so polite on the phone so that it's just a pleasure to talk to you, whatever you want to talk about, you know. It's like, you know, if you have a minute of your time, could I tell you 5 more things about Blair? And, you know, really being considerate. And so then it's harder to hang up on someone who's being so genuine. So
thank you, Colleen. That's great. I love that you have so much experience with phone banking and can share it so honestly and directly and from your heart. Tom, can you answer that question as well? I just want to get a second perspective on what happens next.
Yeah, the ability to jump in and have that kind of impact and have that kind of empathetic conversation is so important. And how do we get to that moment where you can make that magic happen? It comes down to a couple of things. So let's backtrack from the moment that you are on the call having that great conversation. Right before then, you are going through a training, either in a Humanity Calls phone banking program or directly with the candidate of your choice. Because if you live locally and you are able to jump in full time with Donna or full time with Blair or full time with David or anybody that's endorsed, they've got trainers that are there on staff to walk you through the process. They can show you how to do an auto dialer or a direct calling program, depending on what they have set up. They can walk you through their scripts, which I always like to think are guidelines. The most important thing is have the human conversation first, and then drive home those key points that we know get people elected. And that brings you all the way back to that moment where you are now, which is, I support someone and I want to know how to make an impact for them. Well, we have 2 ways that you can really jump in and do that. The first is going to be with those Humanity Calls phone banks. I believe, had dropped a couple of these links in the chat for our Mobilize, which is constantly filling out with new and upcoming phone banks, including locally hosted ones. And we also have the opportunity for you to get connected directly with the candidate of your choice. So we'll be sharing what we're calling candidate cards, which include direct links to every single candidate that's out there. So if you're interested in phone banking for them or text banking for them, or just saying, I'm here, I've got energy out the wazoo and I'm ready to help, they can help get you connected. They can identify those gaps that you have or that they have and how you can fill them.
So for instance, I think Matthew got back to us in the chat and he said that he wants to support Donna and Blair, which is great. So in order to get plugged into those, how does he then move forward? What is his literal next steps at this moment?
Oh, fantastic. First, celebrate 2 incredible candidates.
Yeah.
So there are those 2 ways. So we have, yes, thank you, Kimberly, for getting me back on track. The key is, number 1, we'll share those candidate cards so that you can see more about the candidates and directly reach out to them and get involved. And the other is to see the upcoming events that we're hosting for them. So Blair on Monday at 5 p.m., we are going to be hosting a Humanity Calls phone bank for her and doing everything we can to drum up that national support and elevate what's going on and get people on the dialer. We will have a member of their campaign that can help do the basic training while you're there, walk you through the process, get you excited and ready to call. Donna, we have hers coming up on the 19th. And again, this is a good chance to stress the fact that we are building out this calendar constantly. These events are not going to be just Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Those are just our key placeholders while we continuously build out this team and add in more events for more candidates. So if you are ready to jump in on one of these scheduled events, happy to have you. We will get you set up and calling and making an impact. And if you are so fired up that you can't wait a day longer, which I'm a fan of that, then you can go directly to their campaign and make that difference.
Colleen.
Yeah, so back to the chat. Are there any Humanity Forward endorsed candidates that lean more conservative or independent? Absolutely. Then that would be at the Airtable Tom described, where you can get like nice briefing on the candidates. And I think what so you're talking about candidates that lean more conservative versus, I mean, there are also candidates running in districts that lean more conservative. So if you're undecided who your 2 candidates are going to be, if you pick 2 candidates that are both in conservative districts, then it's similar talking points. It's similar reactions that you're going to get from people. So Blair and Adam Christensen, for example, make a good pairing. And is there anything else? Oh, yeah. And independent. Al Gross in Alaska is running as independent. We just hosted him Sunday night on the AMA. So he's the only independent running of the Humanity Forward endorsed candidates. So it's really exciting having him. He's going in for Senate. Yeah. All right.
Excellent.
And should I go to another question, Erica, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
So, Peter Ching asks, how do we change the narrative in our calls from job creation for the economy to well-being for everyone in society? That answer would be particular to each campaign because they would have different major policies on the platform that suit that idea of well-being for everyone in society. I can give you Blair's answer, but I would have to be a broken record about how do you phone bank for Blair. Yeah, so in that narrative, it's brilliant because there's a different one, slightly different one for every candidate. And so that's a great question for the fields director with the campaign to open that up. Erica's asking, I really dig this whole movement. Yes. And I'm really excited to get started. Yes. My question is how to approach phone banking when so much of the country is a little fatigued by politics and phone calls. How do you keep them engaged? I see that Tom and Colleen answered, but may I offer a suggestion? Have Andrew Yang pre-record a message to introduce the caller to grab their attention and let the live caller interact. Just a thought to throw out. Wow. Okay, I'm going to turn that over to Erica, another panelist.
I love the question because it just shows that you believe in Andrew so much that he would be able to move a voter upon hearing his voice. That to me just shows complete commitment to what we're doing here in this movement. So I love the question on those terms. I don't think I've ever had this idea presented before. It's not a bad one. I think it's kind of interesting. I wonder what the response would be if we started out that way and then a voice came on. But I think for some people that might be a turnoff because it would sound like a recording. For some people it might not. But it is an interesting idea, and I do appreciate the passion that question exudes. Totally.
That is what we have right now for questions here in the Q&A. Is there anything? Oh wait, here's more. This is great. Feng Yang, is there any call goal for all of HFM, like 10,000 calls a week until the election? There can be. We can come up with one. Thanks for the suggestion, Feng. More coming.
I can also add a specific recruitment goals that we're getting from some of the endorsed candidates that we have. So they are setting those goals themselves, which we can use to backfill and say what our call goals are. So I love that idea. I love the idea of segmenting it by candidate as well, so that we can know, oh right, we have hit the goals that they're setting for Adam Christensen today. We've made the impact that they're requesting, and we know if someone else needs support and we're not hitting that goal, it kind of gives us that fun flexibility to support the people that are fully committed to the one or two candidates. Yes, this screen is fantastic because right now a wide variety of our candidates are in the process of filling out this exact information. So right now you see, I think there's 9 on the screen, maybe 10. And these are all constantly updating as the candidates share more and more information. So you'll see just a couple of the ones that are listed. Blair has set an official call goal of 70,000 persuasion dials and 100,000 GOTV or get out the vote dials. That makes it very easy for us to know what are the metrics, what are we trying to hit, and how do we backtrack to the overall call goals that we're trying to hit. So I love that suggestion. Without knowing it, we were building towards that, and now we can bring it on home and really set those goals for ourselves. So I love that idea, and it's good to hear from you, Peng. It's been a while. Any other questions, Colleen? What's next on the list?
Yeah, Jim McBride is asking, are our candidates using relational organizing tools? I don't have that answer.
Would Jim, do you want to answer ask that question live so we can get more context from you?
Yeah, what is a relational organizing tool in this context?
Yeah. Let me find you, Jim.
Can you unmute?
1 sec, please. There he is. Hey, Jim, can you speak? There you are.
Hi, I didn't see where I could unmute.
Oh, you're speaking now. We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, no. The Biden campaign is rolling out the VoteJoe app, which is a relational organizing, I guess, mostly tool to help volunteers. It syncs with their contacts and helps you gather information about your friends by having conversations with them, and then encouraging them to vote, volunteer, helping them make a plan to vote, stuff like that. One of my, questions that I haven't officially gotten the answer to yet is how does it work with candidates down ballot? And Virginia had a training today that I listened in on. It wasn't extremely well run, but but I thought the answer was going to be the app is useful to Virginia candidates. That's why Virginia was hosting a training. But anyway, there's a huge effort to recruit people to be relational organizers, like lead an event called a friend bank, where you basically, gather people together and encourage them to reach out to their networks, to encourage them to vote. So inside each candidate's district, it's, a great tool to get people who know folks inside a battleground district to encourage their friends to get involved. But it's also just good for the Yang Gang in general to do it, because we should be encouraging folks to vote and to volunteer and some of the same things. And so, everybody can have an impact no matter where you live. It's important that we get folks that may not have much experience voting yet to participate in the election this year. So anyway, I'm learning about how this is supposed to be run. And probably next week, I'll probably be hosting my first friend banks. And, I can invite any, I can welcome anybody who's interested to attend and learn how to use either that VoteJoe app, or there are other tools like Outvote is the app that it's based off of. So Outvote is the company that makes it. But there's others like Outreach Circle, and there's Vote With Me, which is like a nonpartisan app. But there's a lot of ways to, engage with your contacts and then send the information to the campaign with the app. You can just mark people off like it was a phone bank as supporting a candidate and whether they want to volunteer, etc. So
Wow.
it's in an infant. It's kind of an infant stages, because this has been talked about for a while. Like Reach is a app that I think AOC's campaign folks, or some of them, developed, which basically, what I know about Reach is that I think what it does, which is similar. The vote.
Jim, if you don't mind me jumping in, we actually had the chance to use Reach in Iowa, which is so exciting. And you're completely right that so many of these tools are such a powerful way to make those connections. And if you don't mind me kind of splitting your question into two key pieces here, it seems like there's the ability to launch an app that is used for some down ballot candidates, and then there's the ability for us to do friend banking and recruit as many people as possible to take action. Ideally, you'd find a way for those to merge together, but the biggest challenge that tends to happen is cost. When it comes to down ballot candidates, some of the costs for getting these apps up and running, both in terms of actual money and time to do so. The campaigns are strapped. They focus on phone banking, potentially text banking, NGP Van, and just some of the other toolkits. So it's one of those emerging platforms that many campaigns are interested in. They've explored a little bit, but they haven't fully landed on them. So it's you're right. I think it's an exciting frontier to explore. It may be difficult for it to get rolled out in this final sprint, but what we can do and what we've done partially in the past is building out more friend banking efforts, reaching out to other people within this broader community and saying, hey, how are you? It's been a crazy year, and we just want to make sure that you are doing okay and that you still feel, after all the craziness of 2020, that you can still make a difference, make your voice heard, and go vote. And if you're feeling empowered enough to not just cast that vote, but encourage others to do the same for something that you believe in, then you can step up and help us sprint to the election. So that's the answer is, in short, I think this is a great chance for us to have that call to reach out to more people within the community, not just through some of these social media strategies or the incredible Humanity Hangs that Kimberly is hosting, but having more direct outreach, meeting people where they are, and having that check-in. So I really do appreciate that. And let's actually follow up a little bit on that offline to see how we can carry that forward. Right now we are at 8:58, which means this is our chance to bring this whole thing back home. If you are at all wondering what the core message of this webinar has been, it is that time is not on our side. We are rushing in the next 25 days to get to this election. And each and every chance that you have to jump in and assist a candidate is a chance to move this whole movement forward. You can phone bank, you can text bank, you can go on social media and directly push what the candidates and their campaigns are saying. And you can help write letters to the editor if you live locally to help reach those voters directly, make that impact that we know is powerful, and help us move humanity forward. So with that, thank you so much for joining. This has been an absolute delight. Big thank you to everybody that's been on this panel for sharing and putting in all the work these past few months. Thank you to Colleen for helping us not just with the Q&A, but building a sense of community, and to Erica for helping form this team and really show what we can all do together. So with that, thank you, and let's move humanity forward.
Thank you, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, everyone, for being here, and we'll see you out there. Let's get to work.
And just informationally, this was live streamed, and you can watch it again on YouTube. Just go to the Andrew Yang